Hello all, welcome to our channel Way to Know. In this video, we will talk in brief about the eval board, particularly SI917 eval board, which can be used in your development. So Silicon Labs is providing a combination of main board plus a daughter board, which can be used to develop various applications for the SI917 board. So you see here, this particular daughter board of 917 is plugged onto the main board, and there are several peripherals that are there on this main board, and the engineers who wanted to develop applications for SI917 can use the peripherals on this particular board, and then they can test the interfaces or develop their own product for 917. So if you see here, the baseboard that is there is called BRD4002, and if you go to the website of Silicon Labs, you will find the info related to this main board. And this main board is a generic board which can be used with various Silicon Lab mating boards, and one of the mating board that we see here is SIWG917. So if you see here, we can actually plug this out, okay, and you can see that there are two connectors here onto which the daughter board plugs in. Okay, so now this particular board can be used for your development, and you can see it's a easy plug-in kind of board. Simple to plug in and simple to plug out. Okay, so the one important feature is you can provide the power to this particular board from the main board itself, and you can also provide from battery, and you can do various things. So we will talk about what are all the various peripherals that are there on 4002 in this combination, so that engineers can use this particular board for their development. So the first set of document that is required to work on this 4002 plus SI917 board combination is UG562, which can be downloaded from the Silicon Labs website. Okay, so this particular user guide provides all the info that is related to the board and helps you get started with the SI917 board. In this particular user guide, you can see various things listed. Right now, our point of interest is on this particular overview, where you can see here all the different interfaces related to this particular board are listed here. So the first thing, as we talked, this is the main board. The bottom one is the main board, which is 4002, and on the top you have the 917 board, which is plugged in to this main board. And in this main board, you have something called USB Type-C connector, using which you can use it as a COM port to transmit and receive the signals. And this particular COM port is also called virtual COM port, and this helps you plug in power to the board and also as a UART, right? And then apart from this, you have something called RTC coin cell option or a 2-pin battery connector. Using either of these, we can provide power if you don't want to use the USB Type-C connector. The important point to remember in IoT is a predominantly low power demanding profile where your boards need to draw as low power as possible, and most of the IoT device in that domain operate on battery. That means the circuit need to draw as low power as possible, and providing option in a eval board for a battery is very important. And then apart from this, you can see here there is a display on this particular board which can be used to display various things as per the requirement, and this particular display is also interfaced to SI917, and we have several examples which we will be showing later. And you can see here this particular board is named as plug-in radio board. So the board that is plugged in onto this main board is called a radio board because it contains radio, right? And then you can also see here there are breakout pads. So these breakout pads are nothing but whatever the pins that are not connected to any peripherals on this main board are routed to this breakout pads, so that the external peripherals which are not part of these or which are part of these can also be connected externally to this particular board. Okay, and then apart from this, we have something called expansion header here. Expansion header is something where you can expand the functionality of this particular board or expand the peripheral connectivity of this particular board by connecting another board, and you can have many interfaces, many peripherals on this particular board, and the 917 can interface with it. And apart from that, you have something called logic analyzer option where you can probe the signals, and the reset button which is common, and the very important feature of this particular combination of baseboard and daughter board, especially the baseboard, is the baseboard has onboard debugger, okay, which you can see here. It is called a J-Link debugger, and you can actually debug the the daughter board that is connected here using. So the debugger can be used to debug your daughter board. And then apart from this, if someone wants to connect an external debugger and not the J-Link debugger which is mentioned here, they can also connect it using the simplicity and debug interface. Or if someone has some other board, Silicon Labs board, where they want to debug that particular board using the onboard debugger, they can use these debug connections and connect it to the debug pins on that board. So that means debug input and debug output is also possible using this main board, which is a very important feature, right? It's not just the board plugged in here, you can also debug the boards. And apart from this, on board you have humidity and temperature sensor, on board we have joystick, on board we have buttons, on board we have LEDs, and apart from this, there is also a power selector switch where when it is in battery mode, you have to select the switch towards batch side. When you are powering it by self, that means you are giving external power, you put it to self mode. Or when you want to use the current monitoring solution on this particular board, you have to put it in AM mode, which is advanced energy monitoring option, where you can measure the current that is drawn by this board on the 3.3 volt rail that is being passed to the daughter boards that are connected. So even current monitoring can be done using this particular board. So there are many features of this particular board, right? So going forward, to explain the features of 917, we will be talking about using these, or we'll be using these two board combinations, and in detail we'll be talking about each and every interface that is supported by 917. Hope this video gave you a glimpse of the beautiful boards that are supported by the Silicon Labs profile, and try to grab one and follow our videos to do more hands-on on Silicon Labs boards.